Hello and welcome to the No Flipping Excuses Show, the only podcast in real estate investing that teaches what you need to know to find and flip deals right now. Wow. Break free the chains that are holding you back and join us on this episode with Jason Lucchese.
Hey, what's up? It's Jason Lucchese, and welcome to the No Flipping Excuses episode. I am so excited that you are here with us today. We're going to be covering an awesome topic, but before we get into revealing what that topic is, I have the myth in the No Flipping Excuses studio, aka my office.
AKA pretty much every time we record, I'm here. It's just I'm not always on the microphone, so...
That is true. Mike's not busting a rhyme on the microphone.
Not so much. But good to be back, and we got a great topic to talk about today. Something I've actually been getting some emails about, something we have an education about, something that's asked about all the time in our groups. It's just people really want to know how to get these deals because they truly are off-market properties that are just with super really highly motivated sellers. So.
Yeah, we just picked one up recently, and it has to do with probate. Probate leads, there's several different ways that you can go about finding probates. But Mike, what are some of the things that you are hearing about from our students and from some of our listeners that, really need some questions answered?
So one of the main questions I get about probate deals is, I'll cover the top two or three. One is where to find the probate deals. Two is how to approach the probate deals. And then three, best marketing approaches for the kind of follow-up with these deals or, because probate's a little bit different than your standard lead. So it's just a little bit different marketing and follow-up. So how do I do that?
Yeah, so those are great questions from some of our listeners and from of our students that have, come to us and said, hey, I need some answers on these. So instead of just responding to everybody individually, it would be best to do a show. So what we're going to do is we'll cover that right now. The best thing, how to find the probates. First of all, the biggest thing that most people aren't doing, and if you want to be successful with being an investor that does not only probates, but also does other forms of deals, is getting in touch with attorneys. Now, not just any attorney. The best thing to do is find out who is the attorney on several probate properties. So the best thing to do is go down to the clerk's office, the recorder's office, and find out who's recently passed. And you can find that information out. It's all public. I would recommend that you call first to see if they have either an online strategy that you could implement with finding this information out, or you may have to go down there yourself to pull that information as a researcher. You could go research that information, find that information out. Mike, the best thing to do, let me ask you this. Who are the individuals that are handling the probate cases for the family members?
So there's going to be an attorney that comes anytime that you get a probate case. There's always going to be an attorney that's handling or helping out with the executor and going through that case. So that's one person you can reach out to right there because there's always going to be an attorney.
Yeah, there's going to be the great thing about it is too, because we are going to talk about how you can mail out to the executor and the beneficiaries as well, because you're going to want to be able to touch on all formats on how to reach out to folks. But the individuals, the attorneys, these folks are coming to an attorney to help settle the estate. And the executor is going to have the final say on, hey, this is where we need to go. This is where we need to finalize and close out the estate. And at the end of the day, it needs to go through probate court, and a judge at the end of the day is going to do whatever they need to do. From a judge standpoint, I'm not an attorney or a judge, so I'm not going to be able to give you insight on everything that they do from a legal perspective. But at the end of the day, you're going to be able to find out who the individuals are as far as executor, beneficiaries, and the descendants. You basically want to find out who the descendants are with that particular property, and you could start talking to those individuals. Now, instead of doing a direct mailer or cold calling, the best thing that I would recommend is if you see one attorney that's representing several individuals, like families that are coming to them, I would rather go maybe take that attorney out to lunch and talk to them. Now, the best thing to do is you talk to them, see if they would be interested in maybe sending you one or two individuals that might be interested in selling off the property. Because, Mike, say, for instance, the descendants, the executor, they live out of the state of where maybe the loved one passed away. Do you think they're probably going to want to keep that property and become a landlord, or do you think they may want to sell that thing off?
Actually, they don't even have to be out of state. They can be just out of the city. Even we could talk same city, but just out of the city is far enough away.
It is
that they're motivated. Yep. They're 99% motivated to sell it. When they're living close by, they're not as motivated. There's still some, they have some kind of hope that they can sell it themselves. But they live in the next town over or out of state, like you say. It's like they don't want anything to do with it because now it's costing them a lot of time and money.
Yeah, and the thing is, once you talk to the attorney, you're going to want to perform. If you don't perform on that first opportunity that the attorney is going to give to you, then that relationship's going to be squashed right off the bat. But it's really difficult to mess up something with an attorney they're going to be giving you they're delivering to you an opportunity on a silver platter. And you're going to be able to get that property for a really great discount, because what are some of the reasons why most people are wanting to sell an inherited property? Taxes, potential code violations for not mowing the lawn. There's going to be, the property is going to be vacant, so they're going to have to worry about vandalism. They're going to have to worry about utilities. They're going to have to worry, about property management. From that standpoint, they're going to have to worry about maintenance of the property.
Essentially, when a house is sitting there, when somebody passes on, the house dies too. If you don't take care of it, it just completely falls apart, and it costs a lot of time and money. If you're not living in it, and which these folks are not living in the house, it's a money pit for them.
It really can be, especially when they're out of state. Those taxes can add up. The property could go to auction, then they lose the whole thing. So it could definitely be extremely costly.
Right. And these are not houses that they think, like, sometimes they might be thinking like it can turn into a rental, but it's not a turnkey property. It requires them to come, and these are not investors. These are just people that have properties because inherited to them. So they're not set up to have somebody come in there and quickly, rehab it up, turn it into a turnkey property, and then put a renter in there with property management. They think that they're going to do that, but then when you remind them of the cost of setting up property management, of the house needing to be updated, and reminding them, like, yeah, it's a great house, but it was a great house in the 60s and it's 2018, things need to get updated a little bit. Then it starts to paint the picture that, hey, this is just not something I can hold on to at all.
Yeah, the other great thing is, that's going to be great stuff that you need to know, especially when you're talking to somebody over the phone that's a probate. But when it's being hand delivered to you from an attorney, it's not a cold relationship at that point. It's like the attorney's coming on, they're introducing you as the professional, as the investor that's going to be able to come and make an offer on their property and help solve their problems.
Right. The attorney really sets the bar for you. And then after that, once you get in there and become that problem solver, then remind them, hey, I'm here to help you, just let me know what I can do to help. That really... Yeah, and then once you solidify that first deal with the attorney, then the attorney now sees you as their problem solver for their clients.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And the thing you'd want to do too is, if that attorney is going to be able to help you out from that standpoint, there would be no reason why you wouldn't want to refer business to that attorney, because it's a two-way road. They send you business, you send them business, and it's going to help out quite a bit. Another big key thing with these properties, and we'll be able to talk about it here more, is insurance on them as well. Vacant properties cost quite a bit from a standpoint with insurance. Being on these properties, they're going to cost quite a bit of money. It doesn't matter where the person lives. They could live 10 miles away. They still need insurance on the property. So that's going to segue us into the next portion here, because attorney was first, and that's probably one of the best ways for getting probate properties is directly to and from attorneys. Mike, the next way is finding out, who's passed, how we could find that out is through. Go ahead.
I tell people right away, because most counties nowadays, they're the county recorder's office. It is the recorder's office, right? Yeah. The recorder's office, you can Google it, because most of the time the records are online. Now, sometimes they're only 50% of the information is online, depending on, the state's codes and laws and everything they have in place. So it might just be the property information, but it'll be enough for you to skip trace to get that contact record, or sometimes just the attorney's information will be on there, and there's enough information for you to reach out. But going online and looking for the county recorder's office website, or just calling the county recorder for the target market you're working in and just asking them, hey, I'd like to look up some probate information. Do you have that online, or do I have to come into the office and look? And then what information you're typically going to need is either going to be a name or a case number. If you don't have one of them, if you have a name, which is, again, Google search, looking up recent death notices and things, but just going online and looking for the county recorder's office website.
Yeah, so you could find those death notices on Google. You could search in the county where somebody's recently passed away. Other things that you could do too, you could talk to title companies about who's recently had a QCD done, a quick claim deed. And you could find out those quick claim deeds, and a title company will be able to help you out with that, or point you in the right direction of where you could find recently completed quick claim deed properties. And then you're going to be able to want to do a couple different things here. Mike and I have been having a lot of success with calling people. And the way we do that is, once you have the information of the descendants, meaning the executor and the beneficiaries of the estate, you could do a skip trace on every individual that's on there. And I would highly encourage you to do that. Mike and I have a service that we use, and it's somebody that's somewhat private to us right now, but we don't mind sharing it. So if you want to reach out to us, that's completely fine. We'll share that contact information with you. Or you could go to a website such as needtoskip.com. That's needtoskip.com, and you could get skip tracing completed for you. I believe it's around 20 to 30 cents per search. And you don't need to have something like a TLO or something like that, which could become very costly.
No, but and if you're a beginning real estate investor, your business is just starting out, and you don't have a lot of capital to put into this type of marketing, Google is going to be your best friend. And then we've talked about it in the past, fastpeoplesearch.com. That's also going to be your best friend with skip tracing this information. So there's still great ways to get these leads for free. Even if it costs you a trip down to the county recorder's office, typically all your investment is the trip down there, and then the time it took you to look through the record, whether they have it online or whether they're still using books, or whether you can do it from home. So
yeah, and fastpeoplesearch.com is free. So you could find that. It just you might pull up, like if you want to pull up a specific name for somebody in fastpeoplesearch.com, it's going to pull up multiple people with that same first name and last name. So you're going to just really have to make sure that you have the address of that information of that person, so that you could pull the right person.
But don't get over concentrated on the analysis paralysis. If you do a search and it comes up with a couple of different names, just call them. And if you got the wrong person, oops, sorry, wrong number, and then call the next one. Don't just be like, I can't figure this one out. Because I've talked to people that they're like, I don't know which one is which. I'm like, well, call them and ask.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, we have thousands of listeners that listen to the show, so we can't stand over everybody's shoulder to hear exactly what you say to them word for word. But some of the things that Mike and I have been saying that's been extremely helpful and sincere for when we are talking to these folks, because what's one of the big things that's going on right now? They've lost a loved one. So one of the things that we could help solve for them is take the burden of being able to, give them peace of mind by us buying this property. So one of the things that we do, Mike, when we cold call these folks is like when we're not getting a lead from an attorney, one of the things that we do is, say for instance, so we're making an outbound call. We just say, hey, is John Smith available? And they'll say, yes, this is John. And I'll be like, hey, John, I was just giving you a call about the property on 123 Main Street. I just wanted to reach out because I know this is a difficult time for you guys. I have set aside my team, because we want to reach out to folks. I've been through this myself with a family member that we've lost, and I wanted to reach out to you because I have a team set up to help you guys. and I wanted to follow up with you to see if you were selling the property at 123 Main Street. So we do things in a different manner. As far as just giving them a call and saying, hey, are you selling the property? We want to let them know how we found out their information and how we could help them with our team. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Jason, I might be a solopreneur here. That's completely fine if you're a solopreneur. You could still talk that you have a team. You're going to need an attorney. You're going to need a real estate agent. You're going to need a title company to be on your back. Those are people that are going to be part of your team, right, Mike?
Yeah, these are all in there. They're all part of your toolbox. And let's just say, you're not comfortable saying, I've recently lost somebody, or maybe you haven't. I mean, most of us have at this time in our life. Most of us have. But let's just say you're not quite. It's got to be natural to you. And if you just can't naturally get that out, you can still go into asking them without. You can leave out that one specific part. And one thing I've been doing has been like reaching out and be like, yeah, I was just calling about the property at 123 Main Street. I'm a local real estate investor in the area, and I'm just reaching out to, because I am looking to buy properties in the area, and if there is anybody, I don't know if you or anybody you know would benefit from like an all cash offer and be able to close quickly. I'm just letting you know. I mean, is this something that I don't know if this was for sale? I just reaching out and figured if it might be. And that's, I'm not doing hey, I was calling about this house, I want to buy it. I'm kind of softening up a little bit and reminding them like, hey, I'm going to pay all cash if it's something you really need to get away from quick. If you would benefit from that, let me know. I'm just letting them know. I'm not really just looking to buy their house, but if I am offering a benefit that I know that they need.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, another way to get in contact with them, I would highly encourage you to start getting on the phone, calling them, because that's going to be huge. You're going to set yourself apart from a lot of individuals that are just doing the mailer route. Now, there's nothing wrong with sending a direct mailer. It could also give you a shoe-in. So say, for instance, I send a letter to John Smith and I, talk about how we found his information. It could be a nice long letter, handwritten letter, and there's several different templates on, yellowletterscomplete.com that we use that are specifically for probate. There's 2 of them. So I would do 1 week a mailer, and then I would do the different piece the second week, and that's going to help out dramatically with you being able to have a warm phone call, because at that point, Mike, you could say, hey, my name's Jason Lucchese. I sent you out a couple letters over the past couple of weeks. Just wanted to follow up with you, see if you received those. I know that you guys are going through a difficult time right now, and I wanted to see if there was anything that I could do to help, because I'm a local real estate investor, and I would be more than happy to see if there's something that I could do to help you. Something along those lines. It
is a great. It actually warms up the call a little bit when you send them a letter, because they might remember or they might not. But if you say that, and you did send them a letter, they might go looking for it if they still have it, because they don't always throw the trash away. A lot of those letters end up on the desk. They don't even open it, so they might look for, I wonder who this Jason Lucchese guy was. So that's a great segue into it. The final thing was then the follow-up and the marketing with these, because after you've done that, after you've reached out to them, made your phone call, what we found and what you're going to find is a lot of the times right then and there, they're not ready. Especially if it's brand new, whoever passed just recently happened, the wound is fresh. Sometimes they're going to get, upset, and that's fine. It's completely understandable. You just have to be ready to take it and let them know and remind them as soon as they're done venting to you. Just remind them like, listen, I understand, and if the call doesn't go any further, that's fine. Just let it go. You can try following up later on, maybe when they're in a better place, but just let it go. But sometimes they're just like, not right now. I don't know what to do. It's all fresh in their memory, and it's all fresh that just happened. So they really don't know what they're going to do. There's maybe several people involved. There might be brothers or siblings, or whatever. You don't know what the case is, but they're trying to figure all that out. So you got to give them time to do that. So then what we do is just set up the follow-up. Hey, okay, I understand. Would it be better if I gave you a call, like maybe in like a week, after you've had a chance to, after you talk to him, after you've had a chance to talk to your brother and find out, if you guys decided what you want to do, or after you've had a chance to talk with the attorney, whatever reason they gave you for needing to not do this right now, that's fine. Record that and then set the follow-up to be that one person that does call them back. So when you do call them back, and it might take a week or two, it might take a month, it might take a couple of years. It might be consistent following up. How long does the one that we had? It was 2 years, right? they had this one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they had it for 2 years. So you got to, set those reminders and be that person that's always, there for them. You're not there to buy the property. You're being there for them as a problem solver. So when you're that person that's constantly following up with them and reminding them and saying, I'm going to set up a week follow-up, 2 weeks, let's just say you call them back in 2 weeks and they're not ready. Okay, great. Set up another follow-up in another couple of weeks. Send them, get the information for their email, the second or third call. Be like, well, is there a good email? Perhaps I can, shoot you my contact info, get that information. So then you can add that to your follow-up sequence. And then, make sure you got a cell phone. Is this a number I can text you on? Okay, great. And then somewhere in your email or in your follow-up sequence is a text message. Be like, hey, this is Michael Bredhauer. I was just reaching out to you. I know you guys are going through a lot. We've been talking a lot lately, and I just want to see if there's anything I can do to help. Just something like that. Just puts it in their head like, oh yeah, this guy Mike, he, whatever, they'll go and talk, or they might call you, or it might just be the thing they needed to hear. Like, I'm ready to sell the house, and to them, you've been that person that's always communicating with them and always been like offering them information, like help them, offer them information in your follow-up. Well, if you need an attorney, we know a good attorney, the ones you've been marketing to, the ones you've been asking for leads for. If you haven't done that yet, look for a good attorney and find one that might have multiple probate records under their case that, okay, this obviously might be a good attorney. Follow up with them, reach out to them, maybe send them one, just send them a message, say, hey, this person was looking for help with, their real estate, such past. I sent them your information, be that person. They might reach back out to you and say, hey, thanks, there's a lot of great ways you can put yourself out there to, just be that follow-up. And when you're constantly doing that follow-up, if I'm right, Jason, you tell me, because this is something I learned, not just, doing this, but a lot with Jason and the marketing was you just have to be that person that's always in their ear, because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of noise, a lot of marketing. They're going to get tons of mailers. As soon as this happens, as soon as that person passes on, as soon as it went to probate, after a certain amount of time, it's going to get on some lists, and then all of a sudden the letters are going to start pouring in. You have to be that person that not only sends them a letter, but sends them a phone call, sends them a text message, is always in the back of their mind that, hey, Michael Bredhauer is going to make me a cash offer on this property. He's been very helpful. He's not been pushy. He's just been constantly reminding me like, hey, whenever you're ready and whenever you need this help, I'm going to be here to help you. And that's going to be what gets you the deal.
That is true. It really does come down to, at the end of the day, your follow-up sequence. There's a couple different ways that you can do it as far as reminding yourself from a calendar standpoint to follow up from, following up from a task standpoint and an appointment standpoint. We like to use Mojo Dialer. We use Mojo Dialer. So if we're talking to somebody right then and there on the phone, we'll set a task for ourselves. We'll set an appointment. So that we know that we need to reach out to these folks. Now, if you don't have like a Mojo Dialer or something like that, you could always use your Google Calendar to do that. You could set up appointments to follow up with these people. And I'll tell you what, the appointments go a super, super long way. When you follow up with these people and that they know that you remembered them, it's going to go a huge, huge way. And they're going to really love that you did that. And because most people that don't get the deal right away or after the second appointment, they tend to fade away. But if you are the one that, say for instance, you threw yourself up against the wall and you're sticking, and other people are sliding off because they think it's too hard to hold themselves up there. It's really not. All you need to do is just simple follow-up and you're good to go. With our iPhones, there's a voice memo part. You could do a voice memo on there and you could do memos for yourself. I'm not sure, Mike, from a Google standpoint or an Android standpoint, what you're able to do.
I'm sure they have. In this day and age, there's an app for everything. Wasn't that a saying for a while? There's an app for that. There's an app to send you a reminder. There's an app you can integrate. And how long does it take for like a 5-10 minute phone call just to say, hey, Mr. Seller, just following up with you, seeing how things are going. Okay, great. Well, I'll talk to you in a week or two. Let me know if you need anything. All right, bye.
Yeah, and that was something I learned early on in the mortgage business, is that I had to follow up with people. Because if you don't follow up with people, they'll have another mortgage loan officer following up with them, shopping them and giving them different rates. And if I wasn't following up with them every single day, they were going to be like, okay, this guy forgot about me. Because my very first deal that I got set with Countrywide, it didn't go through because I didn't follow up. I remember my branch manager coming up to me and he said, hey, what's the status update on this file? And I'm like, well, I think we're getting close to closing. I called the person and they're like, yeah, we already closed with somebody else. So that was a big swift kick in the pants to me. So ever since then, I would follow up with anybody and everybody every single day, even if I didn't have anything new. I'd be like, hey, I was just giving you a phone call, just got off the phone with underwriting. Your file hasn't been reviewed yet, but it is in line. So everything is going as we proceeded, and it's going along. So we are, in a motion to where everything's going to get going, everything's going to get closed. So it's just that reassurance that you can give to people, that you are there, you care for them. So that's a huge part.
I feel reassured right now. Just you saying that, I feel reassured. No, I'm being dead serious. I remember you being like that at Countrywide, and I remember that you asking those questions. What's the status of this? And even today, what's the status of that? Because you understand that if you don't keep that follow up and you don't get that status, that the deal's probably going to go to somebody else.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. So hopefully on this episode, you've been able to gain a lot of information from Mike and I in reference to probates. Now, obviously, we can't share every single thing within one No Flipping Excuses episode. If you want to reach out to us in reference to our probate program that we have, you can feel free to reach out to us. Mike, what's the phone number and email that folks can reach out to us?
So they can reach us at support@jasonlucasey.com. And if our listeners haven't heard you say it a whole bunch of times already, it's support@jasonlucchesi.com. And you can give us a call, 317-886-1400. You'll get myself or you'll get our customer service rep, Diane. She is wonderful. She'll answer your questions, help you out, point you in the direction you need to go. But just reach out to us and let us know what you need to know about probates if you're interested in learning more.
Yeah, reach out to us and reference that you heard from the No Flipping Excuses show with Mike and Jason, this particular episode, and we'll make sure that we give you a really, really great deal. As of right now, if you go on to our website, it's $297 to get the whole entire program. If you go on there right now and you reference this episode, we'll give you a $100 off coupon. And that will give you full access to our probate program and how to find affidavit of deaths. We haven't even touched on that. And that's a training program that we only give to specific students. You will get access to that as well. So you will get a $100 off coupon when you call or email us, and you'll be able to get that right away. But Mike, is there any parting words that you have?
Nope. Just get out there, make your phone calls, do your follow-ups, and get some deals.
Absolutely. Well, hey, my name is Jason Lucchese. Thanks for joining us today on the No Flipping Excuses show. If you need anything whatsoever, make sure that you reach out to us. We'll see you on the next episode. Now go flip that house. Talk to you later.